Oh, shit. I'll fix that. That's a prop. Oh, damn it. Shoot. Well, hold on. Hang on. Damn receiver's dead. All right. Now I should be able to turn this on. Maybe. Okay. So maybe not. Hello? All right. Well, I gotta go wash my hands. I got like grease or something all over my freaking hands. I don't know where it came from either. All right. Wash my hands so I don't get all this crap nasty. So we're gonna put together some of these data collection units that I've been building. And I got a few things here, and we're gonna have to kind of modify and make things work a little bit. So I'll show you what we got so far. So this is the working unit. All right, so small box probe. So there is a crudely installed 4-pin connector here. There's a crudely installed 4-pin connector here. So plug it in, you've got 6 feet of cord, and stick this wherever you need to put it. All right, makes sense. Pretty simple, right? Okay. So we have to make that. And we'll kind of wait for everybody to join in here, so we'll do some unboxing. So I had to order some more supplies, so budget is really impacting me on this. Like, we are broke. I am broke. So I'm only able to do a couple of these a week, but we're slowly building up the cache of them. So I got some little connector wires that'll connect just for the Raspberry Pi pins, so we don't have to solder them. I don't know what this is. Oh, these are a bunch of USB-C cables just for power. These are micro USB cables. That's also for power. These are right angle adapters. That's just so that the cables fit, and you'll see what all this is for. And then these are the 4-pin connectors in their virgin form. So we just have to disassemble them, and we solder wires onto these 4-pin connectors. So super simple, but you'll see how all this works once we get it started. So we'll need a connector, and then I need 4 of these pins. For these little jumper things. Just trying to get my supplies ready so that I don't have to go find them later. I need 1 of these adapters. One of those. I need 1 of these micro USB because we use Raspberry Pi 3, which runs on the old school micro USB. We'll need 1 modem, like this. 1 modem, and then need to go. All right, so then we'll need a computer, Linux computer. Shove all this up there. Then obviously I need the enclosure, and I need a soldering iron. I don't know where it went. I'm in big trouble if I can't find it. There it is. All right, I was last using the soldering iron to melt some plastic, so it's gonna smell terrible. Just let that sit there. And then the hot glue gun, because make fun of me all you want, but the easiest, most cost-effective way to stick all this stuff together is hot glue. And I know that sounds a little unprofessional, but let me tell you, this stuff gets deployed in hail, tornadoes, and things like that. There's no reason to use special epoxy or something. Just hot glue it, slap it together. Like, these devices are not being built to be pretty or anything like that. They're built for function, so don't really give a crap. And then, of course, the little case here. So thanks for joining, everybody. Get all this foam out of here. And then I need a battery too. So you'll see all this gets packed in here shortly. These are 70,000 milliamp hour batteries, so we get several days out of them. We gotta do some modifications to them, and you'll notice you'll see shortly that I'm just dumping hot glue on basically everything. The battery, just to keep vibrations down and such. I gotta turn this heat off. It just won't stop running today. It's freaking cold out. And I need a pair of dikes. All right, so first things first, I chopped the handle off of these because it's not necessary. We got power in this. Yeah. So I've already flashed the SD card for the Raspberry Pi, which is the operating system and all that. And it's already got, we cloned these, so it's already got the script on it. It's got all the software, everything it needs. The only thing that we have to do with this will be to just log into it and assign it a device ID. So before I forget, I'm going to hot glue, if it's even ready, the SD card just a little bit because we don't want this to come out. I got dogged on pretty good on this on a previous live stream where someone's like, that's really an unprofessional way of securing that stuff. You need to use such and such adhesive. Okay, there's a high likelihood that every one of these that we build that costs about $250. All this stuff's about 250 bucks. We're going to have about 30 of these things. There's a high likelihood that we potentially in a season could lose all 30 of them. So I'm not going to buy fancy epoxy for something that might get lost on its first deployment. We're just going to put some hot glue on it so it doesn't come out. It's fine. It's not going in on the International Space Station here. A couple other things that we'll do right off the bat. I cut these in half because there's female pins on each side. So now this will do 2. And it's for plugging into these GPIO pins right here. So we'll need these, and I'm really going to get the electronic people, especially the engineers. The engineers hate me. Really going to get them riled up because we're not even going to use the wire strippers because I don't know where they went. So we're going to use a pair of dikes and some really piss poor soldering techniques. So what am I forgetting? Really nothing. All right, first thing we'll do, peel off the sticker. Now, I really thought about putting the connectors on the lid because this has to face up. But the thing is, if it's attached to something, I want the connector on the bottom so that the water is draining. These connectors are technically not waterproof or really weather resistant, but they fit in there tightly. I've never, with rain and non-pressurized water, I've never had one of these leak. If it does, it does. It just, the waterproof connectors are too expensive and they're too bulky. These are simple, just 4-pin aviation connector. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. But if you put it here, even if it's set face up, which is the intended orientation, and you've got your connector here, at least it's not up here, water's pooling on it. So that's just kind of the idea behind it. But lots of people have lots of input when it comes to these, but I promise you folks, there is 100% a reason why these are the way that they are. I've done this a very long time, and there's a lot of experience in things that go wrong that I've factored into these. One of the things that's going to come up here shortly, there's always someone's going to talk to me, try to tell us about thermals. We don't have a thermal issue in here, especially with even though it is a black case, we don't have a thermal issue. We've tested it extensively. Even without the heat sinks and without a fan, we don't have a thermal issue. I literally put these under a heat lamp to test them several times and had the internals measured with a thermometer up to 140 degrees. This thing was still running because this doesn't really run anything extensive. It runs a script that reads the data, transmits the data. That's all it's doing. It's not doing conversions. It's not doing algebra. It's not doing anything. It's literally just transmitting the data. Basically packaging and then transmitting the data. This is really doing nearly nothing. I understand that these in direct sunlight could get above the thermal operating range of these and these, the modems, but I have purposefully tried to cook these and I can't get them to overheat, even when exposed to extreme temperatures for a long time. The goal is to put this in the shade anyway, so it's a non-issue. We're not worried about thermals. I'm not going to reinvent the entire wheel to accommodate a non-issue, basically. If something's not an issue, things can be issue on paper, but in real life, if it's not an issue, then it's not an issue. Let's put it that way. If this was going on the International Space Station or in an absolute mission critical system, like, I don't know, it was controlling the freaking power grid or something, okay, yeah, maybe. But all right, so a couple things. I'm waiting on soldering iron. We can drill our hole. I need to find my battery. I gotta get a drill battery. Hang on. We gotta drill a hole for this, and I don't even have the right size drill bit. Like, that's how crudely these are put together. These are made for efficiency, not necessarily to look good. So, and then if I drill a hole too big, I usually just pack a bunch of hot glue in it. So let me get you guys pointed in the right direction here. All right, what do you guys think? Right there? All right, sure. Good enough for me. And we'll just use a step bit. Probably went too big on that, but we'll see. I think we're about perfect. I do need a blade to clean that out. So it leaves a bunch of garbage in there that we gotta slice off. There we go. That stuff will prevent it from sitting in there. You just gotta ream out the hole a little bit. This razor blade works best because these step bits these unibits are tapered. So as you drill in, the outside diameter is on a thick material like this is gonna be larger than the inside. These should come apart. There we go. So this is just oh man, just a regular bulkhead connector. So it'll go through, and then we'll put a nut on the back, and then we'll hot glue it so it don't come loose. And then there is a keyway in there, so we're gonna put that keyway facing up. And well, actually, before we do that, we're gonna solder the wires onto this. Let's be smart and do that. So we need to extend the wires a good bit, so we'll go about that long. Doesn't have to be precise, because the nice thing about these is they kind of get tucked away and nothing really bothers them. It's kind of build it and then leave it. It's not like they're getting plugged in and unplugged and stuff all the time. So I'm going to take my wire strippers here, also known as a pair of dikes, because somebody is going to be like, oh, you need to be using wire strippers. You're right. I can't find my wire strippers right now, even though I've got like 30 of them. I'm sure I could if I tried, but it's just fine. We'll make it work. So we're just going to manually extend these wires. I could have bought longer pin things, but the Amazon listing for these ones in particular said they were 8 inches long, and there's no way that's 8 inches long. So their listing was wrong. The other ones that I had were. So that's fine. We'll make do. We'll just have to extend them a little bit. It'll only take me an extra like 3 or 4 minutes. We'll solder them and heat shrink them. Honestly, be completely honest with you guys, I actually wouldn't have a problem with just electrical twisting wires and electrical taping in a situation like this, or just some cheap plastic butt connectors. But it seems like it's cheaper to just solder and throw some heat shrink on them than it is to buy connectors and everything. But I honestly wouldn't have a problem with twisting and then taping, really, because it's a semi-disposable thing. But the only issue I have with that is I'm not the only one working with these, and we want to make them, build them in a way that they don't have issues, so that we don't have to have people that don't know how these are working have to troubleshoot them, if that makes sense. So soldering and heat shrinking them basically guarantees us that nothing's going to come apart. So I just got some crappy heat shrink here. This is not big enough. Okay. So I'll probably just get the crack torch out. We'll just use a crack torch for these. I don't know where my little solder clamp went, but it ain't here right now. It's somewhere. So I need to find something to like hold these, maybe the vice grips. Yep, that'll work. These little baby vice grips here. We'll just do that. And again, because I don't want to deal with the soldering iron, it's going to be slow. We'll use the soldering iron where we need to. We'll just use the crack torch. It's just faster. And those little solder pieces that spray off, they come off. This is stainless steel. You just go like that and they come off. There you go. Real crude, real fast. Just super quick. Doesn't have to be pretty. And there's no color coordination going on here. There will be shortly, and I'll explain why. There's no color coordination going on. These are just random jumper wire colors. So using the crack torch is just a little bit quicker. You don't have to, doesn't take as long to heat up the wire. Last time I did this, I got an email where someone was like, using that torch to melt that heat shrink, you could potentially be burning up the insulation. Okay, well, good thing we don't care. I mean, these are built very crude and very quickly on purpose. One thing I've learned about the internet is there's always a group of people that will tell you how you're doing everything wrong, even if you do it perfectly right. They'll tell you that you're doing everything wrong and how everything is going to fail because you've done it wrong. You literally could be a brain surgeon doing brain surgery on somebody, and somebody that lives with their mom at age 50 and doesn't have a job will come in there and tell you that you're doing the brain surgery wrong. I'm dead serious. It's a thing. It's just how the internet works, especially these days. So that's all right. You get used to it after a while. Yeah, car's done. Car's done, guys. It's been done. I'm just trying to figure out how I want to organize stuff. All right, so that's most of our wiring harness done. Okay, so now we need to, where did that little connector go? Right there, Jesus. So I'm just gonna pinch this, and now we have to use a soldering iron because we have to solder these wires onto their appropriate pad. So I need to really shorten these significantly. And we have to pay a little bit of attention to how we're soldering these so that we line up the pins, you know, so that when we make the other half of the plug, you know, pin 1 goes to pin 1, pin 2 goes to pin 2, etc. I do have some of these pre-made ones with wires already on them. $14.99 for 2 of those. But I got a whole bag of these ones where you got to make it yourself for $7, and there's like 8 of them in there. So I'm like, well, that's a no-brainer. All right, I'll try to do this right. You guys can see. Maybe I'll put it on top of this. So my soldering iron does not reach. That's, oh, shit. Oh, let me go get an extension cord. Oh, I'm running out of extension cords around here. I need to get some like retractable extension cords, like the mount on the wall with like a hose reel type looking thing, and have like one at each corner. That would be great. Or maybe just put some outlets over here by this table. All right, so this is a $7 soldering pencil from Amazon that I've been using to melt plastic with. So please excuse the obvious terrible quality soldering that I'm about to do. I promise I kind of know what I'm doing, but I also don't have any patience for this. I'm just going to put some solder in all the little pins without melting the plastic. So you're supposed to heat up what you're actually soldering first. So you don't want to heat up the solder first. You want to heat up the thing that you're soldering. And then you put the solder to it, and then it melts, solidifies later, liquefies, and then solidifies. I don't follow that rule. I'm not going to lie. I kind of just put it in there and hope for the best. I'm not here to teach you how to solder. Do what you're going to do. You don't want to learn it from me anyway. Maybe I should have put these in first. God damn it. This is the first one of these that I've had to manually solder. This wire gauge is too big. Doesn't fit in the little pins. Hey, look at that. We'll let that solidify here after a minute and see if it's good. Probably should put some solder on there too, but whatever. It'll be fine. Never claimed to be good at this, especially when it's trying to walk away from me, because I don't have a vise. I don't have enough solder in there. I figure, though, this is a pain in the ass, but the amount of money savings that it is compared to buying the prefab ones is worth it. Yeah, we just need some more solder in there. Hold it for a second. It'll solidify pretty quick. Tell you what, though, these pins are soldering very nicely. Sometimes you'll get components and they don't solder nicely. It's like they don't want to take the solder no matter what you do. This one Seems to be taking it pretty well. All right. Surprised nobody here is telling me how to do this already. So give it the pull test. Seems to be fine. There we go. Wow, we did it without somebody telling us how to do it better. That's impressive. Usually somebody's like, you're doing that wrong. And then I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Anyway, here we are. So we shove it through there. And we need to make some sort of a cheat sheet on how we are actually making these connectors, because we have to make sure the pins line up. So let's do this. So we've got our keyway up here. I don't know if this is actually the denotation of the pins, but let's pull this back out. So pin 1 up here, we're going to make that VCC. Pin 2, we're going to make that ground. Pin 3 will go is it SDA, or we'll go SCL and then SDA. So as we look at it like this, that's going to be the pin out. So, and that's going to be looking at it, not from behind, looking at it. And I wrote that on there, otherwise I'll forget. Again, that's not like mission critical. I mean, obviously it'll prevent things from working, but like if we change it later for whatever reason, it's could be a problem, but all right. Now I just gotta put the nut on the back. Maybe. Come on, you freaking pisser. There you go. Little washer, which is probably pointless because we're just gonna put the nut on and then we're gonna hot glue the piss out of it. Make sure that keyway is up. $18mm wrench seems to fit these, but I don't want to get it out. We'll just use size vice grips. It'll be fine. All right, now we hot glue the living shit out of that thing, which also gives some structural rigidity because I'm sure I've got terrible solder joints. So this is also good to make them last. I remember being a kid in like middle school and I couldn't solder, and I would just like twist wires together and hot glue shit and hope for the best, and it worked out. So we're just gonna like literally make a mountain of hot glue on this thing. This just prevents it from coming loose, waterproofs it, whatever. There we go. We'll let that dry. I like to keep it down like this while it's drying, so it doesn't, you know, come apart or whatever. All right, so I need a screwdriver. So we have to disassemble the other half of the connector. Again, this is just a lot of busy work, but it literally brings costs down like $6 per unit, which isn't a lot, but when you're talking about many of these, it adds up. All right, so these are supposed to just disassemble real nice, but I see we're not doing that. Probably because these are China quality connectors here. Dude, do not make me throw you away. There we go. Cripes. Okay, so I need some wire. The wire that's on the sensor is not very long. It's only 3 foot long, and we need at least 6 foot. So we try to get these at least 6 feet off the ground. But having them be a little bit longer also makes them easier to deploy. Like if you've got a little tangle in it or something, it's not a big deal. So I've got some 5 conductor wire, which will be just fine. We just won't use one of the conductors. So that's probably enough right there. So we'll use the green, the red, the black, and the yellow, and then cut off the white. Jesus, because the green, red, black, and yellow match the colors on the sensor. So there won't be any confusion. Just connect red to red, yellow to yellow. Shove this through the back of the connector, and then we'll solder this on, and then we'll put the connector back together. Really should have made those shorter. I just hate soldering on these little connectors. Definitely something I should outsource. But then you got to pay somebody to do that, and then you end up with the cost of the pre-soldered ones. All right, so VCC is going to be red because that's just positive voltage. So that'll be, we'll go off our wiring schematic there. I will put this in the same orientation. There it is, fell down. So that I don't, hopefully don't mix this crap up. I hate soldering on these tiny little solder pads because I can't see very well. And I always end up melting the plastic. So we'll probably waste a few of these accidentally. Because if you get it too hot for too long, it burns plastic. This one I don't want to take. There we go. Okay. Top left will be red, top right will be black. Come on, heifer. Okay, I gotta go look and see what color is what, because I don't remember if SCL or SDA is green on these sensors. should have an abundance of them. Where did I? Oh, where are they? Seriously, where the hell are they? Well, we'll just open a new pack. There's literally an abundance of them somewhere over there, but I must have just set them underneath something. So we'll just open a new box. Well, these have a longer cord on them than the other ones. The other ones have a 1 meter cord on them. I think this might be a 2 meter cord. Maybe not. Oh yeah, wow, this is way longer. Okay, well that's fine. It's not gonna hurt anything to be extra long, so. Let's see, so SDA is yellow. So the bottom right will be our yellow. It only leaves green, so we know where that's going to go. Enough. Okay. We'll let that sit and do its thing. Other half of this thing's going to be way freaking long. So we're going to have one of these that's going to have like a 9-foot cord on it. Probably closer to 12, honestly. But that's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. Now I'm out of heat shrink to cover up the entire harness, so we are going to still have to electrical tape it, but it'll be fine. We are going to use waterproof heat shrink on these connections because these are the ones that are exposed to the elements. And what makes it waterproof heat shrink is it just has, it's got like glue inside of it, so when it heats up and stuff, you've got some adhesive in there so the moisture doesn't get in and corrode the wire, because you'll get corrosion and then the corrosion will go all the way up the wire, destroy the whole wire. It's not a good day. And you won't know it till it happens, and then you get frustrated because you don't know what's wrong. It's the same price as the regular heat shrink, so we'll use this. This has an extra wire on it. What's the deal with that? We got to open these up and see what's going on here. I think they've got these are shielded cables, like RF shielded. And I think that they've got the ground, yeah they do. They've got an extra ground on here for the shield, so we don't need that. It's almost like coax cable, kind of, sort of, not really. So we'll just twist these together and hit them with the crack torch, and hopefully we don't bend that and melt that heat shrink, because it's really close to what we're soldering there. I'm going to cut the rest of the, where did I put them? Oh, right there. I'm going to cut the rest of these a little bit shorter. Because they're melting, or the soldering them is going to melt them otherwise. Then I won't be able to slide it over. So this one's taking a little bit longer because of manually building that connector, but also live streaming it. When I'm not streaming this and explaining it, I can get probably one of these built in about 10 minutes, if even. So they're pretty quick to put them together. So anyway, this is what all your money goes to for our GoFundMe fundraiser. Well, obviously the weather balloon project, but this is part of it too, because we need the ground-based data as well. So you can see there's definitely labor being put into this too. All right, so we're just gonna tape that with just tape. Normally I would put a piece of heat shrink over this whole thing, but the next size up heat shrink I have is this, and that's not. I'm out. I gotta order some more heat shrink, but it'll be okay to just tape it. This is just to keep water out and protect that connection. I mean, the connection is solid. I just want something over it so we don't have a bunch of exposed spaghetti looking wires. Even though we could leave it like that, I don't want to leave it like that. So the next best thing is to just tape it. I mean, I don't like using electrical tape for anything because it gets nasty and dusty and dirty. Piece of heat shrink would definitely be the proper thing to use, but again, if we don't have it, I'm not going to go to Walmart or Napa or whatever and buy waterproof heat shrink, you know, just for one of these. I'll just order another kit, heat shrink thing on Amazon, and it'll be here tomorrow, but I'm not going to stop building this until tomorrow over a piece of heat shrink, you know. Okay. All right, so that's good. We can reassemble the connector. Seems solid. We might have to. We're gonna have to tape over this. I thought I had enough, but this part should be over the black part, not over the strands. That's my bad. I wasn't thinking, but it's fine. We'll just put some tape over it so it has something to bite down onto. I stripped off way too much wire there. We'll just build it back up to spec here with some electrical tape, and it'll be just fine. So that connector needs something to bite into. That way it's not pulling on the solder joints, it's pulling on the wire, if that makes sense. I think that might be about it for that tape roll too. Did I seriously build up too much? Sure did. God dang it. Oh, man. All right, so we gotta like shove this thing back together. All right, put the screws in. That's what I don't like about these connectors is these tiny little screws, but it's about the cheapest, easiest, idiot-proof option for what we're doing, and I seem to have lost one of the other little screws. There it is. I say there's no freaking way. And this little clamp goes against the bottom here to pinch the wire. It puts the strain on the connector instead of the wire. Because if you're yanking on this, you'll pull the wire out. And this way, if you're pulling on the wire, you're transferring all the pressure onto the connector. Where is that other screw? Kidding me. Oh my God. One of those days, huh? Well, it looks like I'm just going to rob a screw out of one of the other 55 of these that I have and call it a day. Screw it. It'll be fine. I ain't going to spend all day looking for it when I got 100 of these connectors. We can just borrow one from it. I must have knocked it off the table at some point. That's okay. Easy fix. There we go. All right, so that's all hooked up. So we built that part of it. That's done. This all looks pretty good. I'm gonna hot glue that a little bit more. There's a couple gaps in it. I just kind of do this for waterproofing as well. So, all right. Let's see. We are also gonna need. I need a SIM card for this modem, and then I need a GPS. So I gotta grab the GPS, which is just a little USB-based GPS. Oh, there's a SIM card, and then I need GPS right there. So these are only like $7, but it's just a USB GPS, and that's perfectly fine. And then I just need a SIM card for the modem. I'm kind of waiting a second for that hot glue to solidify in there. I'll activate this later. We got to go in and change the APN settings on it. So we'll plug this into the computer. And give it a second to boot. Sometimes it picks up the APN, sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't, we just manually set it, and it's no big deal. Easy. You only have to do it once. Okay, so the pins for this are gonna be, this is VCC, so this goes here to pin 1, right? I got it on the board over there. Yeah, pin 1. Ground, which is this one, goes to pin 6 on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then SCL goes to pin 5, which, going off our wiring diagram, is bottom left. So this one goes to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the only one that's left goes to pin 3. So I'm going to hot glue that too, just because we don't want this crap coming undone. And I put quite a bit on there, just, it's easy. This thing's telling me my computer's running low. Must have unplugged it. Shit, hang on. There we go. All right, let's see. So this says no service. So we got to go in and set the APN, which is easy. Auto connect. So we need to change this to always connect. And again, once you change these settings, it saves them on the modem, so we don't have to ever change them again. It's America.bix. These are multi-carrier SIMs. Save changes. I'll wait a second. That'll either reboot or we'll have to reboot it, one or the other. So one piece of foam goes down below. Another piece of foam goes up top. We'll glue that in real quick. And the hot glue, believe it or not, does not melt this foam, which is really surprising. So I just put some pieces of hot glue on the back just to keep this in place. It's just easier. Could use spray adhesive, but yeah, there, and it connected, so it's good. So I just go in and I just go to spc.noaa.gov because that's just an easy website to load. It takes a minute because we are in this metal building, and as long as I see some, yep, it's fine. So that's good. All right, so that and this will get plugged into USB. This is going to get plugged into the Pi. This is power. So that's going to get hot glued when we're done. This pigtail gets hot glued into the top of our battery. Reason behind that is when this battery's in here like this, these two will stick up, and then this is how we power it on. Click it together, and it's powered on. There's no reason to install a switch. It's just a point of failure. This has to be opened, plugged in, closed. It's done. It's no big deal. So that will get hot glued, and then I need to find one. I need a USB-C to USB-C. I don't know. I think I have to go into my office and grab one. The USB-C to USB-C is so we can charge it. But I don't know where that USB-C went. I had a whole bunch of them. And I don't know where I put them. Yeah, here's one. Okay. So I got these Anchor ones real cheap on Amazon, real cheap. So when you go to charge this is the cable that you're going to use, and then you plug it in with a regular connector. Oh, Lord. So that goes here, and it just stays plugged in, and then we leave it coiled up in there, and then you pull it out and plug it into the wall. That's how we do that. So I'm going to hot glue this crap. Pretty self-explanatory. Again, I get really made fun of with the hot glue by a bunch of these engineering people, but find me something better that's only semi-permanent, because with the hot glue, if we ever have to disassemble this, you can peel it off. You know what I'm saying? Like, it works fine for us, so that's what we use. So you really kind of got to kink this cable to get it in there, but then we're going to take this foam and we're going to cut out a piece roughly the size of the battery. This stuff just kind of pulls apart. And this is where people start complaining to me about thermals. We don't have, like, again, you know, if you want the explanation on the thermals, go back to the beginning of the stream, but we don't have a thermal issue with these whatsoever. And on paper, you would think that you would have a thermal issue, but in practical purposes, we don't. So there's no reason to give a crap, you know what I mean? So shove this in there. I suppose you could call this an optional step, but you need to keep this stuff from rattling around or it'll just come unplugged. All right. So that fits down in there real nice. Now we got to do that again. Is that right? Mostly. Peel a couple of chunks out for the cords to go through, and then we got to shove all the cords up through this one. All right. And we're good for this. So this is where it gets a little bit messy and I get made fun of, but it's going to do how it's going to do. So we install the modem, because of the nature of the modem, the GPS doesn't fit. Now, yes, we could get another angle adapter, or we can literally just turn this to the side and wedge that fucker in there and then hot glue the shit out of it. So we're going to do that because it's fine. We could increase the every one of those right angle connector things cost me $3. We could increase the cost of this by $3, or we could just shove it in there and just call it a day. So we just shove it in there and call it a day, and it's plenty fine. These always get hot glued because they love to come out because of the way that they're shoved in there, as you would imagine. But that's the other thing with having this wedged in there with the foam. It's not really a huge issue. Now here's the other questionable thing that I'm going to do. So we're going to take our wood screws. Yes, you heard that right. Deck screws. We're going to take our deck screws and drill them into the foam through the pie. These, I had no idea that this was actually going to work. These actually do, when you screw them into this foam, they actually bite into the foam, which surprises me. So we're actually going to screw through the holes in the pie. And, oops, I forgot to hot glue that. Hang on. We got to hot glue the USB, the micro USB, the power. These actually hold in the foam. And this is probably not necessary. But I just like to do it because if you have to kind of peel this thing apart. Oh shit, we made those wires too short. If you have to peel this apart, it keeps the pie from moving around. We made our wires too short from here to here. That's a problem. God dang it. What do we get? Can we move this? Ah, shit. Ah, damn it. What are we going to do now? Frickin' A. Am I going to have to really make them longer? Shit, I'm going to have to make them longer. Well, maybe not. Hold the phone here. Hold the phone. Hold on. We're doing a cobble job here. I can get a little bit of slack out of them if I really push them over. Remember, function over form. Oh yeah, look at that. Wow. And then if we peel out a little bit extra for this battery, we can push the battery over. So like I said, these are not built to look pretty. They're built to work and be thrown together quickly because these are semi-disposable. So we'll push the battery a little bit over to the back of the case, shove that thing down in there, and then we'll take some of that foam that we yanked out and just put in there to fill the gap. And it'll be just fine, folks. We're not building a consumer product here. Again, this is not as clean as I normally would like it, but we made a little bit of an oopsie there, and I'll remember on the next one that we definitely need to add more wire. See, these are biting too good in this foam. It's wanting to frickin' twist it all up on me. Usually it doesn't try to twist the foam. Maybe if we run it in with a drill real fast. Yeah, that's just not going to work. It wants to pull that all. So that's fine. Well, we're just going to probably leave that one. Normally, I think it's because of the way I got it shoved in there. Normally, you can actually run those in there and it'll bite into the foam, but it's not necessary for, totally. So I'll just pack some extra foam in here. It'll be fine. Again, if people want to do it better, they can come do it better, because there is definitely a way to do this better, and I completely agree. But it's one of those things where it's just like, it's not worth doing it better for a semi-disposable unit. And then now you're starting to see why we ran those through the foam ahead of time. This is also why we hot glue all this crap in here too, so that when you're kind of haphazardly packing this in, it's all right. So there you go. That powers it on, and I'm just going to look in here for some lights to light up. I don't see anything lighting up. Oh yeah, I do. There we go. GPS, modem, and pie lit up. Just took it a minute. And then we just leave this cord in here, just coiled up, so that when you go to charge it, you've got a charge cord. This one, I'm going to take some extra foam, I think, and pack it with some extra foam. Just because I'm not a huge fan of how this one went together. But again, semi-disposable, so I am not going to rebuild it. No reason for that. Just pack it up. So you click that together. There you go. And then you plug in the sensor. So. Pull the sticker off of here. Maybe. Okay. Before we forget or we screw this up, we're going to label it. So this is going to be number 6. I just read our website on the back. This is paint, by the way. And I just put the number in a couple of places so you can read it no matter which way we're looking at it. So that's that, mostly. I do need to plug Ethernet into it, which is easy. I just got to fish the Pi back out and program it. But that's all that we had to do with that. And then probe part would just plug in there and you can screw it down. So I'll probably plug this in. It's probably going to identify as probe 5 because that's the one that it's been cloned off of, but I'm going to go just throw this outside, and that's fine because number 5 is not turned on right now, so it's probably going to show up and identify as 5, but we'll go ahead and change it to 6. It's not a big deal. I just want to make sure that it communicates with the network, because sometimes you put these together and they don't communicate. 9 times out of 10, it's the modem for some reason. Didn't have a APN setting right or something, but that's that. I mean, that was it. So we got that built. So we got that thing built. So that's cool. So that's kind of how we do that. Now you know. Unplug all my stuff that's hot that can burn me here. So I just wanted to go live real quick and show you guys something. Yeah, we can look at, somebody asked to look at the car. We'll look at the car. Don't let me lose that. I'll show you guys the car. Everybody wants to see it, so. Actually, let me see if that thing popped up yet. It might not because they are slow to boot. It's a solid like 90 seconds to get those things to boot. For some reason. Yeah, I'm not seeing it, so we'll give it a bit. They just take a while to cell signal. We also don't have very good cell signal right here, so that's part of it, so it'll take a minute. But all right, so this is what we did. So that's, I don't know if I showed anybody, but this is silver and it's reflective. I didn't want black because black looks tacky. I actually didn't want any markings on it, but I didn't want people to think that I'm ice, which is totally a non-political statement. I'm just saying people are throwing bricks through windows because they think that they're ice, and I can't afford that shit. If somebody wants to act like a fucking buffoon, they need to do it on their own car, not mine. So we labeled it anyway, but it's silver and it's reflective. I think if I shut the light off, you can see it. It doesn't show up really well on camera, but yeah, I need a, oh, hold on. I think I can turn a light on here somehow. Hold on. Yeah, see it's reflective. So, simple. It works. I like it. I'm working on the back right now. So anyway, I guess we'll do the tour, right? So I put the amber lenses on the big lights just to see how they work. I gotta take it out at night yet, but fog light, ditch lights, or whatever, and then we've got flashing light there, and then there. And then, of course, on the sides, too, for intersection warning. This is actually a functional bumper, too. It's not just for looks. They make these out of square tubing, which is really nice. These are, I mean, they're solid. Like, there's zero flex on this whatsoever. It's not like one of those crappy Satino ones. This little tiny antenna, just because it was a convenient spot to put it without having to drill in the roof. This is for the scanner visor bar there, obviously. And I gotta put some white wire loom on this or something, but this is VHF, UHF, and then obviously camera, the Starlink, and that antenna right over there is for the radio sound receiver. And anyway, so I just got this done, nice and clean. But here is the tablet mount that goes down to the seat bolt. This was a real pain in the ass because I stripped that out. And then it braces against the console here. I added these 2 cigarette plugs. And then I've got 2 up here built into the console, and there's 2 behind the console. So this is how everything fits in here. I don't know, or the keys are in here, so we can turn it on. Switch for the Starlink, and then the scanner sits here. Not exactly ideal, but it's really don't have much places for it, but there's still a decent amount of room in here with all this stuff. Like, it didn't get, yeah, the cup holders, I know. It is important. It didn't get cluttered. I've got an armrest that goes here that should be here tomorrow, but we didn't really lose our space with the visor bar at all, which is good. Anyway, so now that's turned on, we got light back here. So we can fit plenty of data units in here along with weather balloon launching supplies, right? There we go. And then I got this big case so that we can have our balloons and radio sounds protected from vibration, elements, heat, etc. So I can carry 15, I think there's, wait a minute, it's 3, so that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so I can carry 14 SONs. I got a parachute in here. 14 SONs. I've got 12 100-gram balloons, and then I've got 5 200-gram balloons with plenty of more space for 100-gram balloons. Obviously, when we go out for peak season, we'll probably take another Pelican case, but I'm going to make Zach one of these Pelican cases also. So you just keep it just keeps the stuff from rattling around. Helium tanks are going to go here, which means we're not going to have access under these storage units, which sucks. But the helium tanks only weigh 40 pounds each, and there'll be, what, 3 or 4 of them, so we can unstrap them and move them. So you can still get under here, it's just buried. So I put stuff under here that we almost never use, like the recovery gear. This is a shovel. Plastic, in case you break a window or other stuff. Air compressor, duct tape. This is stuff that I, like, never use. That's just a spare backpack. It's got, like, bug spray and some spare parts. There's a cat carrier in there. Stuff like that. This is stuff that I never touch. But it's there, and we can get to it if we need it. That'll go in there. We'll find room for the saw. I've been kind of just shoving stuff here. This is my ginormous flashlight. This thing's awesome. But it works out pretty well. And then obviously we have the cargo divider so that nothing gets dislodged. And everybody wants to see the lights and shit. Let me just turn this thing off. I still need to get a new battery for this. So there's a couple different modes. So that mode 1 is just the rear light stick. 2 or 3 flashes everything. I gotta shut this trunk. By the way, added these cargo lights. These are just Phoenix cannons on steady burn white, and you can see all the light that we get. And then we've got the additional lighting on the bottom so that you don't lose it when the hatch is up. But so this is how it's set up, because I'm so sick and tired of these like seizure mode flash patterns. When you're driving, this is fine, right? That's fine for moving or highway, but it's not good when you're stopped on the side of the road at night, because that's just called blinding people, and that's not what you want to do. Some storm chasers should take note. But so slower patterns like this side to side is a lot more visible than these like seizure mode patterns, especially when it comes to like the light stick. Like you will see that light stick in a pattern like that where you have large blocks of light flashing at once, way farther. But this is still too chaotic for the side of the road at night because people get blinded and then they can't see you. So we can slow it down into like a traffic mode, and now it slows the back and forth. It slows it down so it's just constantly slow, and then it actually steady burns the visor light, but it flashes over top of the steady burn. So I don't know if it's the lights reflecting on it, right? That, but you can tell that it's still flashing. But at night, that's effective. During the day, that is not effective, but at night it's plenty of effective, and it also takes the white out of the visor, so you don't have that blinding effect. We still have white and green and everything everywhere else, but you don't have those giant, super bright white lights up there. And if you get closer to it, you might be able to see it better. I'll turn the lights off in a second if you want to look at it, but see, it steady burns it, and then it flashes over top of it, but it's only at like 50% brightness. And then we don't have a way to override the pattern on this stick light, but it does slow down the back and forth, so that's a lot less chaotic. Because you don't want this to be chaos. You want it to be not distracting. You know, you're trying to enhance visibility, not reduce it. So with the lights off, you can kind of see how that looks at night. And like, that's way more calm looking than like a response mode, if that makes sense. Like, I'll turn on the full flashing and you'll see the difference. So, I mean, you can just see how terrible this is in here. But I mean, you can tell how much more chaotic that is. And the camera is decreasing the exposure, but this blinds people at night and reduces their night vision. And that's honestly kind of dangerous. So you slow that down and then it's not such a problem. I mean, even just, you can see the flashback is a lot better, but that's the way to do it right there. I wish that I could override that rear bar the same way that I do with that visor, but it's an older one. It doesn't have that capability, but it's fine. I mean, it's on a slow enough pattern that it's not a problem. So I don't know, but it looks good. I'm happy with it. It's actually been done for a couple of days. I've just had it in here because I've been doing some of this other stuff. It's been done since Tuesday or whatever. Or no, Saturday. But I originally wanted to put these in here, but they just don't fit. Just no way to make them fit. So, because the original plan was just going to be light stick, and then, man, look how bright those cargo lights are. You see them through the tint. The original plan was light stick, and then just in here and nothing else, but that wasn't going to work. So the reason I kept those down there is these are a wider optic. That's a 120 degree optic, so you can see it off axis. These lights and this light are 40 degree optics, so you don't see them. Like, about here is as off axis as they get before they're very dim looking, so that picks up the slack to the right and the left, obviously. But you have to run those 40 degree optics behind the tint or it just doesn't punch through it. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Otherwise, I'm happy with it. Oh yeah, the flood modes and shit. Yeah, good point. I forgot to show you that. So I don't know if it'll let me do it. My key's in the car, so it should. All right, so this is all the forward-facing white light that we have. So high beams, those side auxiliary floods, and then the two spotlights right there. These lenses come off real easy. Maybe not with one hand, but they come off easy. God dang, really? Well, take my word for it, just not with one hand. I just like that because it cuts through the fog. I might take, you can take them on and off if you want, but there's plenty of forward-facing light, so, which is important, and obviously we can do white on other sides of it too, but anyway, lots of light. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here, guys. That's going to be it for today. set you guys back up here. And so we got that going. Soldering iron. This stuff should be relatively cool now. I see that our device has not shown up on the map. I probably need to reboot it. For some reason, and I have no idea why. Oh, I know why it's not showing up. Wait a minute. I didn't activate the SIM card. I forgot. With this, these prepaid like roaming SIM cards, they give you like, when you first connect to the network, they give you like a minute worth of access to like put your shit in, but you have to go and add it to the plan. I didn't add it to the plan, so because we unplugged it and then booted it back up, so it doesn't have any service. So that's why. So I'll go do that. But that's it. So thanks for joining. It looks like we got severe weather coming up Thursday. So I'll probably do a test live stream from that thing tomorrow or Wednesday just to make sure everything works, but not necessarily to make sure everything works, but to get used to it, because it is really, really stressful switching vehicles to something you're not used to with live streaming, because the buttons are in the wrong spot and stuff. So we'll do that, but I would expect something on Thursday probably. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks for being here. Maybe. There we go.